important. So step number one is to ask yourself, what is the big promise, all right? So here's what I've got. It's kind of hard to see. This is a table. So what you got here, and I want you to write this on your paper, all right? So if only there were a lot of notebooks that had my last name on them, or my first name and last name on them, we would have something to write on. Oh, yes, you have those. So get out your handy notebook, and I want you to draw a square, and you got 1, 2, 3 lines in the square, so you got 4 columns. At the top, write market, lead 1, lead 2, lead 3, right? And then under it, we're going to write the big promise of your stuff. So this is the big promise you're making to your market, the big benefit of whatever it is you got, right? Does that make sense so far? Okay. So this is where, well, you'll see. I've never taught this before, so I'm new to it, so hopefully it will translate well. So the biggest, there's so many biggest mistakes, it's almost like everything is the biggest mistake. A very critical error that is extremely easy to make, which I personally made many times and learned from, is that we don't expand the market enough. We will pick the lowest hanging fruit and then just go after the lowest hanging fruit. So in my case, if I want to sell Ultimate Webinar Blueprint or Ever Webinar, for that matter, if I'm working with Andy to help him sell that, the lowest hanging fruit is going to be the general or aware market, which in this case would be like internet marketers. People who are generally aware of the fact that webinars exist and that they are an accepted vehicle by which one can sell their stuff. Make sense? That's pretty simple. In this case, I would be marketing to fans of Brendan, fans of mine, this low-hanging fruit. So my lead, in this case, I mean an angle, a lead in, the thing that I would be saying here on the opt-in page, right? My lead in number 1 might be how to Y without B. I didn't want to make the font real small, so basically, why would I have had how to yay without boo, right? That classic headline formula. How to make sales on webinars without being cheesy is one of the things I'm using, right? How to sell on webinars, well, without sacrificing quality of content. Now, our mission is to do 2 things. Number 1, find other segments of a marketplace to serve. And number 2, come up with 3 lead-ins for each segment. So I don't really expect you to complete this during our time together, but I want to show you how to do the exercise, because if you take like an hour or something, less than an hour, really, you will end up with 36 different ways to approach a market, because we're going to go wide and we're going to go deep right now. So this is heavy-duty stuff. Nobody ever does it, never seen anyone do it, thankfully. Let's not tell them about it. That would be bad. Okay, so this is my pitch, how to create webinars that sell, right? To the general aware market of people who know that webinars exist and might be a generally good idea, okay? They're like middle of river people, to use the Jenkinsology, right? A second lead might be news. In my case, I use it. I say breaking news. I just check the stats, and this unusual way of doing webinars has worked very, very well. Get on this webinar, and well, the irony here is not lost on me. Get on this webinar, and I'll give you a webinar about how to buy a thing that teaches you how to sell on webinars, okay? But that lead is news, the personal news angle. I checked the numbers, did this experiment, a new way to do webinars. It worked very well. That's my lead, that's all. I'm just getting them in the door here. This is my in front of the line angle, right? Y'all can have all this, by the way, so you don't have to take pictures of it if you don't want to. Okay, lead 3 is fear, right? I don't use this as a front of the line thing, although I should. I should have a Facebook ad that says what to do when your show-up rates go in the toilet. For people who are already marketing on webinars, even if they're not marketing on webinars yet and want to, they're like, my show-up rates are going to go in the toilet. I better figure out what to do. Human nature. That's just a way to get them to opt in, to get on the webinar. So let's say that everything I'm saying is simply to get someone to register for this webinar, for Ultimate Webinar Blueprint, all right, for the sake of clarity. So, and all of these little squares here are just angles I'm using in Facebook ads alone, right? Let's just make it super simple. So my first Facebook ad is to the general market, how to have webinars that sell, right? Without being high pressure or uncool. Second one is breaking news. Just did this, watch this case study on this new and unusual way to do webinars. It worked really well. Third one here is what to do if your show-up rates fall in the toilet. Register for this webinar. We're just driving them to a registration page. Now, if we want to be hog wild crazy, I could have the copy on the registration page match the copy here. I mean, that would involve typing and pressing save and then potentially uploading a file to a server or just pressing publish in WordPress, depending on the, so I know it's exhausting. It's not as easy as swinging the sledgehammer, but it's worth doing because of the general rule that the proportion to, the money. So, super low-hanging fruit, all of this stuff. Your competitors are doing these two. 1, 2, that's it. They go to a general market, the lowest hanging fruit, and they state like an obvious. They rarely go multiple ways to get them into the same funnel. This approach, just this, made me millions selling dog training materials. Because instead of saying how to train your dog, I just said how to train your Labrador. I sent them to a page about Labradors. It was the same product every single time. It's a method called serialization. It's great, all right? But let's say we want to start going deeper. I'm assuming that the only people in the world who could ever benefit from a webinar is an internet marketing person who knows what a webinar is. Is that a true statement? Is the only people? Of course not. Kern, get off your butt, sir. What about business coaches, right? Now, this is still a less aware but potentially aware market. So in this case, how am I going to attract them? I'm going to put, we're not messing with the funnel yet. We're just trying to get people to opt in to the funnel. Well, angle number one could be third-party data. Attention business coaches, according to IBISWorld, your industry is a $12.1 billion per year industry. Do you know if you even got a tiny fraction of that, you would probably have so many clients you wouldn't know how to serve them all. But if you're like most coaches, you're great at coaching, but you find that getting clients has been a little bit of a problem. New Webinar shows a simple way to automate the client acquisition process. Guess what we're going to sell them? How to run automated webinars that get them to apply to talk to the consultant, or the coach in this case. Second one is how to. Business coaches. Free training reveals, let's see, how to have a coaching prospect pre-sold before you ever do the strategy session with them. I would never do a strategy session with someone unless they were pre-sold, knew what the price was, knew what all the arrangements were, and the only thing they were trying to figure out is this right for me or not? Most coaches, they don't do that. Right? They're like, oh yeah, let me give you a free strategy session, then tell you the price, and then hope. And then try to use some sort of canned sales techniques to box you into agreeing to join my thing. It works, but it's very unpleasant. A lot of manual labor. It's probably what you might be experiencing now, Dana, actually. If you don't like having to do the same pitch every time, we want to build something that pre-sells them before you're there. Other one would be news. Now, I don't have the data to support this, but I bet it's easy to find if we did something extremely exhausting, like Google failure rate of business coaches. It could be breaking news. Average American business coach is only in business for 8 months before his business shuts down due to lack of customers. Breakthrough approach reveals how to have prospects pre-sold and waiting in line for an opportunity to work with you. Okay? Financial planners, all right? Can a financial planner replace the dinner seminar with an automated webinar? Of course. I only say this because I've helped one build one, right? I've also attracted annuity representatives and recruited them from one company to another using automated webinars with a print ad, a freaking ad in a magazine to the internet and finance. We don't realize the power of what we have. It works very, very well. So in this case, I could take the fear angle. Dinners are dying, right? Study shows that seniors are less responsive to direct mail pieces inviting them to dinner seminars than ever before. And the average dinner seminar attendee is secretly only there for the free steak and often attend out of loneliness and boredom. New report, or free training rather, because we're trying to get them on a webinar, reveals breakthrough approach to end the tedious and awful dinner seminars forever and produce a steady stream of prospects ready, willing, and able to become your clients with the full understanding of exactly what it is you do and how much you charge. Okay? Very matter of fact, and true copy, although dinner seminars can be done properly. We could have the angle of declaring war, right? So you know what the term plate liquor is, right? That's a term within the financial services industry for someone who only comes to the dinner seminar for the free food. Okay? The bane of their existence. They don't like to do the damn dinner seminars anyway, and then they go and they're like, oh no, I just came for the food. Well, that's what you get for sending postcards to unqualified people offering them free food, man. But Ford Advisors declares war on plate lickers and defeats them all with unusual marketing method. Free class reveals, same thing I just said, right? This is a different angle. So now we got two angles. How to. Simple. How to attract high net worth paying clients without ever doing another dinner seminar again. The whole case behind this could be, if you're frustrated because high net worth clients never go to dinner seminars, that's because you've never put yourself in the shoes of a high net worth client. Would you respond to an offer for a mediocre meal served in a restaurant, surrounded by strangers, to hear a sales pitch from someone just for the price of free food? Of course not. You got more money than you know what to do with. So do your clients, and they need guidance with this money. That's why blah, 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 blah. All right? What about lawyers? Okay? Lawyers are great to help in business because their average ticket is so high. Dana, what's your average ticket? What's a client worth to you? $6,500. I was going to say 48. I have randomly guessed that the average divorce attorney's client is worth $4,800. Randomly guessing. Usually wrong. $6,500. That's great, right? So it makes a lot of sense if I were to be able to say something to a lawyer like, here's how to attract, very simple. Here's how to win, not win because that's the wrong word. Here's how to get, who do you want? Let's script the copy for this. If I'm selling you on a webinar, what's the perfect client that you want? From a how-to angle, what would you respond to? Physicians? Yeah. Awesome. So if you saw an ad for a free class on how to get physicians as clients, you would be responsive? Cool. So, all right, there's called market research. Attention divorce lawyers. Good Lord, with geo-targeting and the way you can do groups on Facebook, I could actually say, attention, are you Dallas? Where are you? Attention Dallas divorce attorneys. How to attract or how to get local doctors, local is redundant. See, I like to be redundant when I repeat myself, I told you. How to get doctors in Dallas coming to you to handle their divorce, ... without advertising on TV, without sending direct mail, and without having to do countless free consultations, right? That's the stuff you don't want to do, right? There you go. That's how to yay without boo. The great lawyer hoax, right? Now, I made this slide after having done a lot of these, so sometimes you can give out of ideas. The great lawyer hoax. They told you it would be, I bet when you enrolled in law school, you thought this was your ticket to financial security, only to find out you're great at practicing law, but getting the clients you want has been an entire matter altogether. Well, new breakthrough technology reveals how to have clients calling you pre-qualified and ready to do business at the fees you command without having to answer 9 million dumb questions and weed out time wasters or whatever, right? Exposed. So if I'm selling to Dallas, I don't want to say Dallas, I'd say something like Houston. If I'm targeting Dallas, I'd say something like prominent Houston divorce attorneys' advertising methods exposed. How is it even fair that one attorney could get so much business without ever advertising on TV, sending direct mail, or having to do the other thing Dana said he didn't want to do? Free training reveals how your practice can get qualified clients on demand without ever having to do all the stuff that sucks, right? For consultants, an open letter to consultants who hate to sell, okay? That could be the ad. It could be a landing page that said, "Dear fellow consultant, we've all been there. You spend hours with a prospect. He asks you for a proposal only to find out that the sole purpose of your visit was to intimidate his staff into finally complying with your wishes. Never again, blah, blah, blah." Free class reveals how to never do another proposal and get more clients than ever before. Third party, consultants. According to Forbes, the consulting industry, just in the field of management, is over a $100 billion per year industry. If you got even a tiny fraction of that business, you would have more clients than you can handle. But chances are, if you're like most consultants, you're great at your job, but closing the deal has always been a challenge. Free class reveals how to yada, yada, yada. All right? War on proposals. San Diego business consultant declares war on proposals, in parentheses, and the people who ask for them. All right? If you're a consultant and you never want to write another proposal again, free class reveals how to have clients coming to you knowing what you charge and ready to pay. If that sounds interesting to you, you can register here. Seating is limited. All going into the same thing, pointing back to webinars, right? So what we've done is we've just expanded the market horizontally, not only into multiple markets, but each market now has 3 angles of approach to attract someone. Does that make sense? I'm selling the same thing. You know why I haven't done this? Lazy. No excuse for it. I just didn't want the extra money, I suppose, right? I'll lie to myself and say I was busy doing something else. It'll make me, I was busy being important. That's why, okay? All right, so now we got all this coming in, but we want to make this, okay? So I diagrammed mechanically, can I do it at the end? I diagrammed mechanically how the making of this works. Remember, I walked you through all those campaigns. So let's talk about now from a creative standpoint, like a copy standpoint, okay? So to deepen the funnel, what we want to do is we want to take another rectangle, and we'll just do it with 3, right? Because each market has 3 leads, and we want to put follow-up 1, 2, and 3 in there. So write the market name down here. So I would maybe write like general aware market or lawyers or doctors or whatever. This is just for your reference. And then we're just going to write the lead that we used, and then we're going to come up with follow-up approaches, all right? So if I'm using the open letter thing, I might follow up, if they haven't bought, with a campaign where its angle is the emotional story. An open letter to consultants who hate proposals. Get on this class. They don't buy from the class. Do I do by class, I mean webinar. Do I do 10 million replays of the webinar? Better than nothing, but what is even better is a campaign from a different angle, now a totally different campaign structure, from a different angle with the emotional story. Jim, I'll never forget how the crushing embarrassment and disappointment I had when sitting in a boardroom of corporate executives, I felt like the odd man out, watching them chuckle over my proposal, giving each other knowing glances, knowing full well they never intended to do business with me in the first place. Not only had I spent 2 days on site, but I'd also told my wife that we would go on vacation after I got the deal. You can only imagine how loud I screamed in the car on the drive home. Better to get the frustration out then than when I hit the house. But none of it was comparable to the pain I felt when I saw the disappointment in her eyes when I said, honey, we're going to have to cancel the reservations. If you never want to be played by a client again, then you desperately need to learn this information. It's a little bit dramatic, but I'm deliberately being dramatic so you can see. So in this case, they got on the webinar. Dude, I could just keep doing automated webinars from a different angle of approach, right? You really can use the same mechanism if you want to with a different angle, if you just love webinars or something. Follow-up number 2, man on a mission, right? This could be a video. Man on a mission. I'm on a mission to save my fellow consultant brothers and sisters from never having to waste time writing proposals, chase clients, and kiss butt again. Listen, you need to understand they need you more than you need them. Otherwise, they wouldn't be calling you. Stop playing to the mercy of these people who are yanking you around like a dog on a leash and understand the power that you have. If you want to create a system that has prospects ready to do business with you, calling your office, setting appointments with you, with full knowledge of your rates, prepared to pay, then this is the most important video you'll ever watch. The concept is called the irresistible intrigue offer, and here's how it works. Boom, 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 then I go into the pitch, right? Just a VSL. A different angle, same thing, right? Everything is wrong. Everything you've ever learned about attracting clients is wrong, right? I bet when you graduated from consulting university or whatever, they told you were supposed to make glossy-looking business cards, wear a blue blazer, hand out a lot of proposals, and get your name out there. Well, if that was correct, you wouldn't be reading this right now because chances are you don't have the clients you want, blah, 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 blah. Okay? So that is lead number 1. Lead number 2 is third party. Let's say we're using the third party angle. Each angle can have another follow-up to it. So they've opted in from the third party data. Let's just say that's this page. They don't buy. Now we're going to hit them with the how to get the deal before you show up angle. That's a how-to angle, right? So they don't approach or they don't buy when they get on the webinar after seeing the ad that says, attention consultants, according to Forbes, consulting is a $100 billion per year industry. Here's how to get your share of the marketplace. They didn't buy or whatever. We then, next campaign is, new video reveals how to get the deal before you show up. It could be an offer at the end of the video. Or it could be another webinar where that's what you're teaching in the webinar, right? Doesn't matter. Next one is breakthrough. That's one of our angles, one of our switches. I'm using angles and switches now interconnectedly because it doesn't matter. I mean, you just choose one, you know. I'm trying to get you to expand your thinking here. Breakthrough new discovery caused a San Diego consultant to earn $175,000 a month within his first 90 days of hanging out his shingle. It's me, by the way. I really did. The first 3 months, I was making $175,000 a month in recurring revenue with a different approach to the consulting model, which worked. What never to do. What never to do in a client's office. What never to do to grow your consulting business, in parentheses, even if your client begs you to do it. Send a proposal. Never send a proposal. Can I have a proposal? Yes. I propose you go kiss yourself where the sun does not shine. But if you would like to learn how to solve the problems in advance, I'd be happy to provide you with this free webinar. At the end of the webinar, I will tell you the rates and tell you the conditions upon which I will help you. And you can apply to talk to me at the end if you feel that we're a good match. Totally different positioning, right? So, war on proposals is the lead. So they're coming in, they're opting in here. For whatever reason, they don't buy on the webinar, no problem. We hit them with another campaign. It could be an automated launch. It could be a goodwill campaign. It could be a via. It doesn't matter, right? Use something. The truth about clients, okay? The truth about clients, especially if you're a consultant, especially you're going after guys in a certain industry, the truth about purchase agents, in parentheses, what they hope you never discover, right? The truth about them is they could care less about the price as long as they look good to the boss and personally get a raise. That's why you need to appeal to blah, 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 blah. Or the truth about them is they're incapable of making a decision personally. Therefore, you need to have their manager on the call. Welcome to my free webinar on how to get the manager on the call, right? Whatever it may be. How to kill price resistance. Have you found yourself getting in front of all the clients that you want but never being able to close the deal because they always tell you you're too expensive? I have news for you. You're not. If you're hearing this objection, today's tutorial video is going to show you 3 ways to overcome it. At the end of the video, if you like this and you're really dedicated to growing your consulting business, you should buy the thing I pitched on the webinar that you didn't buy, right? We're just expanding here. So a big question I get when I teach behavioral dynamic response is, and a big statement I get is, how do I come up with all of the copy and stuff to do this? This is how. You run this exercise. You just come up with all of these different angles, right? So the third follow-up angle would be the emotional story, right? Yep, yep, yep. These guys are not these guys. They're coming in from different places, okay? So what we did is we took one product and we found 4 different areas of horizontal market expansion for each. We took the webinar course and we said, well, we'll sell to the general market, we'll sell to business coaches, we'll sell to consultants, no, we'll sell to lawyers, and we'll sell to, who else were we selling to? Finance guys. Yep, 4 different ones, right? Oh, and we'll sell to consultants. So I think it was 5. Math is not an exact science. I'm not quite sure of that number. I do have 5 fingers. Was it the same amount of fingers I have? It was 5. That's how I do my math there. IRS agent. Sir, your tax return check contained $5. Well, I didn't have no more fingers. I mean, I was writing with the pen with the other hand, and that's as far as I could count. Oh, okay, you can just go. Now, each of those different areas of expansion have 3 different lead-in angles, right? Each of those lead-in angles have 3 follow-up angles. So what we just did was we exponentially increased the reach and depth of a single product by 36 different ways. So you can do it, right? Does that make sense? All right, cool. Now, I've never taught that before, so conceptually, do you get it? Yeah. Yay! Okay, now it's time for the very, very hard sell. And then I'm going to do some hot seats if y'all are still up for it. I'll do some, okay, cool. So here's what you get, ladies and gentlemen, with the implementation worksheet. You get reading glasses. All right. So what we do is we take the campaigns, there are actually 7 of them. We inject them into Infusionsoft for you. If you don't have Infusionsoft, we waive the setup fee. The monthly fee is your responsibility. I don't have a dog in that hunt, but we can waive the setup fee because we're a certified partner with them. So before you get there, we transplant all of those campaigns into your application for you. Then we give you all of the swipe files for the emails, and I do two things for you. I give you my actual emails for each campaigns, and then I have broken down the framework for each campaign sequence to prevent you from the trap of, I gotta write like Frank. Probably you're not going to want to write like me. You're going to want to write like you. In fact, you should. I follow a certain framework, so I'm going to give you my swipe file, but I'll give you, here's the framework for a click sequence, here's the framework for an invite sequence, here's the framework for a goodwill sequence, here's the framework for a countdown sequence, so you don't feel like you have to go, well, this is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard of one human say to another. How am I going to write like that? You don't want to. You want to write like you, all right? We have over 30 web templates that we use, and I recommend Megaphone. That's what we're going to set you up with, mainly because you can complete them while you're there. There's nothing to upload. There's nothing to download. You just edit it and go, all right? And we dive deep to do this stuff, to create your custom copy. Now, that does not mean I'm going to write your copy for you. I'm physically incapable of doing that. There are going to be about 20 businesses represented in the room, so we'll brainstorm. So if you were enjoying this, and you're like, man, okay, I could see how I could apply all of this stuff, and you're like, I have some questions about this. I wish someone would help me. That's what we do in the implementation boot camp. My tech team is there. You don't want me doing the tech. I can tell you that right now. The reason I do my own tech is because my tech team is usually assisting my pesky clients who ethics insist we place their values before ours. Stupid ethics, right? And then we have a private Facebook group as well, which is actually very productive, and it works quite well. And we have, I believe it's 4 months of, did you 4? Yeah, I don't even know it's you really, other than the CIA thing there. 4 months of weekly support calls as well. So if you have questions or need any help. So long story short is, we take all this stuff, we do most of it for you, kind of like if you want a house, we build the frame of the house, we put the drywall up, then we drive you to the job site, we hand you some paint, and then I'm the interior designer, because you know how it'd be great at that. And I'm like, well, you might want to paint this room fuchsia. There's some fuchsia paint right there. I would recommend fuchsia here, maybe a red ceiling, and probably hang the, black lights on this one and the velvet paintings on this wall over here. So metaphorically, that's what we're doing. So you got the price there. You can enroll if you want to. I strongly encourage it. And with that in mind, I want to call Carl, who is crushing it, up first, because he is an easy testimonial for me because you came to this thing. Carl, who is crushing it, are you here? Are you Carl, who is crushing it? Look at you. And you're crushing it with just such wild abandon. That's great. Let's see. You want a chair?
I'm good.
You're good. Okay. So, and our job here is show off and make it cooler. Okay? So we want to show off so it'll make me look smart, and then we want to make Carl's funnel look cooler. So would you give me a totally unsolicited testimonial for how great this whole experience has been and how you are healthier and leaner? You really are looking pretty fit there.
Yeah, sure. So I went to the implementation boot camp about, I guess it was last July. Since then, I've worked my ass off. I've built every single one of the things that Frank went over earlier, some of them 2 or 3 times. And from those campaigns, we've done over 870,000 in sales. So
every single person who buys it guaranteed to make that much money overnight? Yes.
Yeah, we've done really well. So
yeah.
It's been great.
Those results are not typical, by the way. Your results may vary, et cetera, et al. That's awesome. Good. What was the hardest thing about the process for you?
I guess just showing up, honestly, for me. I mean, we had, I'm kind of the tech side. I have a physical therapist. I'm in the physical therapy market as the kind of face. So I help remove the emotion from the situation of getting things done. I just kind of tell them what to do, shoot video, and I kind of patch it all together.
What's your deliverable? Tell them your deliverable and your...
For sure. Yeah, so we sell a $5,000 course that teaches them how to market, and then we upsell now to some of this stuff, which Yeah, I mean, I didn't even talk about what we did with that. So we help them get patients from direct access from the general public through workshops is one of the things we sell. And I took the same webinar sequence and applied it to their practices, and it's filling practices all over the country. It's nuts. I have pictures of it. We could show it if
It's a significant amount of atypical
crazy.
results that are miraculous and never to be duplicated by anyone
Yeah,
ever.
no, it's insane. I'd be happy to share it with any of you to check it out. But
So
super good.
selling
Highly
information and then professional services to physical therapists.
physical therapy practices, private practice owners, and then software. So I started off as started off in the software business, went backwards into selling information after that because it seemed like it was easier to sell. They were more attracted to fixing their new patient problem first in order to realize they needed help with managing their metrics and stuff, which is my other stuff.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right.
Anyway.
Tell me how your acquisition funnel works. So walk me through it.
All right, so we've got traffic, Facebook ads, direct mail, some magazine ads, and then our existing list as well.
Lesson number 1. When it works, expand the media. Well, there are really three tiers to expansion: stabilize, optimize, expand. All right? So they stabilized, got Facebook working. They optimized, or got a media source working. Optimized, came to our stuff, put in the work. We're not magicians. And now expanding media, which we really didn't cover today, but that is, if you really want to start geometrically growing, that's what you do. Okay? So what'd it do?
Cool. Then we send that to several different lead magnets, as well as it mainly goes into our workshop webinar is our main automated webinar that starts people out.
So they opt in for the lead magnet. What's the thank you page?
Yeah, it's a liquidator sale, which is really it's a product combined with an appointment to be sold on the $5,000 course.
I forgot about this. This is so cool. This is one of those rare moments where a totally harebrained scheme worked out.
Worked great.
Yeah, who knew?
Yeah.
You never know. I'm like, maybe this. I mean, logically it would work. All right. So they opt in. How much is the liquidator? There's two different definitions of liquidator. When you're speaking in the context of a webinar, a liquidator is an inexpensive product you offer immediately after registration. When you're speaking, it doesn't actually have to be inexpensive. It's just a non-competing product with your main offer. When you're speaking in terms of the types of info products, a liquidator product is known as an inexpensive, like report, like tripwire-y type of product. Just for people who are wondering about the nomenclature. Okay, so buy the thing that's cheap.
Yep.
Okay. If they don't buy, what?
Then they get invited to the webinar. One of our automated webinars.
So you done went hog wild crazy and took something that was working and expanded it?
Oh yeah.
Dumbest thing I've ever heard. First time in history it worked, never to be repeated. Okay. What if they do buy the liquidator?
If they do buy, we push them to an appointment. We actually send them a bunch of direct mail to warm them up. We have an indoctrination sequence for the appointment itself, and then we hopefully sell them on our main product.
This is amazing. Okay. Are you using ZenDirect for the mail?
No, I just have a fulfillment list get sent directly to
Disk?
handy mailing.
Huh.
Yeah.
Sweet. Same concept.
Yeah.
Okay, so they buy the liquid. What is the liquidator? So this is they haven't even got on a webinar yet. All right, they're just buying a cheap thing.
It's a postcard that we wrote the copy for that will help them attract patients. So we give them the copy of the postcard, we show it, and that's what
Free report reveals how to attract patients.
Yep.
How to angle. All right. Liquidator is, hey, if you want to attract patients, I haven't even seen that video. I pretty much sense what it is. You want to attract patients, postcards are a great way to do it if you do it right. Here's one that works. If you want it, you can copy it. Is that about right?
Yeah.
How much it is?
We've tested a lot of different things, and we've gone down to $9 because it works the best.
I cannot believe that this has worked so
The
well.
more we charge, the less likely they are to buy our main product because they want to try that first. But if we charge less,
They don't even care.
They don't give
Yeah.
a shit, yeah.
All right, so this is important, all right? So the main product is a bit of done-for-you-y type. No, it's high-end info, which goes to done-for-you. If they charge a lot for this liquidator, which is the postcard, which they can just model and mail, they're not going to want to spend the $5,000 because they're like, I want to try the postcard first. Does the postcard work if they mail it?
No, because they won't know how to do it right. They won't know who to target, all those types of things.
So do you want them to mail it? No,
No,
because
not-
they don't know
not
what the hell they're
initially.
going to mail it
Yeah.
wrong. Yeah.
So yeah, like immediately after they buy this,
Mm-hmm.
they're on a page that says their order's not complete, and it forces them to schedule the appointment, and then after that, they do the indoctrination, actually. Yeah. So we want to schedule the appointment to both give them a tutorial on how to use that, as well as teach them how to use it properly in their business.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's no shenanigans here. He's not selling them a defective postcard. If they mail it to the right people, it will work. Now, my belief is they'll never mail it anyway. Like giving them it could be the greatest postcard in the world, written by Dan Kennedy and Gary Halbert and Claude Hopkins collectively, self-funded. You could pay the postage for them, wrap it up and say, have someone take this to the post office and mail it, and they probably still wouldn't mail it. So you don't want to make their having to mail this thing a barrier of entry to them buying the other stuff because of human nature, just to be really clear, not because you're deliberately giving them something bad that they can't have results with the other thing. Because if you depend on the client to do something in order for you to actually get results, you're in trouble. You got to do it for them most of the time in this particular context. Okay?
The appointment, like say they buy the postcard and then you say, hey, your order's not complete, you need to set up an appointment. What is that appointment for? Is that done like live over Skype to talk about big ticket item, or what is that for?
Yeah, that's what it is.
Too soon, though. I don't want to talk about sales call yet. I don't mean to stop, but I got to compartmentalize or else my brain won't work. Okay, so what is this? The messaging here is, hey, you got the postcard, but who are you going to mail it to? Make sure you don't make these 7 mistakes, or what's going on here?
And then we position it as also a differential diagnosis for their marketing, which is like a term they're used to in PT. They do differential diagnosis of people's body. And so we're going to diagnose issues in their marketing as part of it. And we talk about also our main product and let them know we're going to let them know if that's a fit. And,
But you're not talking about it here on your invite to schedule on the thank you page. Are you just saying, hey, man?
no,
Let's
yeah,
talk.
we're not yet there.
Okay, so this is, because
No. And then if they schedule, then we start talking about it.
it's already your first language now.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is awesome. But to be clear, the sole purpose of this says thank you, schedule appointment. The sole purpose of this is to get them to schedule the appointment so the guy or lady can do the differential and talk to them about marketing. So you're not talking about a product here. You're saying, hey,
No.
Okay.
Other than like, if they show up, we're going to give them a free tutorial on how to use the postcard.
perfect. Yeah. But we're not going to sell you a thing for $5,000. That's
No.
not time for that yet. Awesome. Okay. So our ultimate goal, by the way, is we're selling a call here at this stage. This is everything that's happening before the call. So in a professional services or high ticket thing, we think the purpose of the marketing is to sell the thing. In many cases, it's just to sell the call. The purpose of this is to get them to schedule the call, right? If they schedule it, let's say this is the call. What's your show up rate on the call?
I think it's usually around 80%.
That's ridiculous, dude. We didn't get 80% when people paying us deposits. They'd pay us a $100 deposit, and we'd still have to chase them. Difference in market selection, by the way. You're going straight after existing businesses. We'd have people paying $100 if they want to talk to me. Like, really? Come on. You know, it's good. Okay, 80%. What is the close rate on the call?
About 45%.
You know, if we can get it up 6%, you can be carried on the golden chariot into the direct response Hall of Fame by David Ogilvy and Claude Hopkins, who will be dressed very, very well. Okay, there's room here to fix it. What usually is the time difference between here and here?
it's probably less than 5 days. I would say probably usually 3 to 5 days.
What's the average client worth? 5,000, or on average, do they spend more?
On average, it's more.
What?
Probably about 12 grand
Woo.
at least. Yeah.
Girl. All right. What's happening between here and here?
Oh, there's an indoctrination video sequence we send out.
So just some emails. Hey, you're really going to enjoy the call?
There are also phone calls. Oh, there's also an application.
They apply here?
Yeah,
During
after
the
they
schedule?
Yeah.
Oh, what is, all right. So I want to talk to you, schedule the call. Wait, you can't quite talk to us yet. You have to apply?
Yeah.
Okay. Mystery, exclusivity. Lovely. Okay, and then they apply, and I assume someone reviews that application and then decides whether or not they're accepted.
And then they give them a call. They let them know they're followed up with. Yeah.
Okay. If this is, let's just say on average 3 days, and this guy's worth $12K, and he's pre-screened and qualified through an application process, doesn't it make a lot of sense to FedEx this person the shock and awe box of cool stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does.
That's I got to come up with something to show off here. But
Yeah.
that'll work pretty good.
Yeah.
You know, book of testimonials, DVD, coffee mug, typical
Yeah.
DK, Dan Kennedy
Book.
stuff. He came up with shock and awe. Okay, this is lovely. All right, but they don't schedule the appointment. This is such a badass funnel these guys have built. I can't wait for the real surprise thing, which is the webinar itself. But listen, we're not even there yet. So
Yeah.
if they bought the liquidator, they see the pitch on the thank you page, but they don't immediately schedule the appointment. This is where we are, okay?
Yeah.
So what happens here?
Then they get a series of. I do the PDF thing that you mentioned before, and I actually send them 3 sales letters for the appointment that go along, and a little thing that goes along with the postcard, and we're calling them like crazy, basically. So we're going after them pretty hard.
Okay. What percentage are you getting from all this stuff? So the guys who don't schedule here, they've given you $9, they haven't scheduled, you're following up with them.
I'm not sure. It's pretty low for them to not schedule at this point. We schedule between, what is it, 80%? 80, 90%.
Dude, it's insultingly good. Yeah. I want to send them something anyway. I want to send them a shock and awe box.
Yeah, we got to do that.
So I would shock and awe, because they're giving you $9. So there are many things better than this, but within this context, you order a little postcard thingy for $9, you get a big box of cool stuff. Big box of cool stuff is a postcard, then it's testimonials from doctors who you've helped with an irresistible intrigue offer for the appointment, right? So I think that will help your already ridiculously high appointment rate, but you'll make more money doing it than if you didn't. But this is lovely. Notice they're doing everything, right? Outbound, direct mail, emails too. Love it. Okay, so this is good, and now we're getting them on the call. We'll talk about the call in a minute. But now let's talk about this little mofo right here, because I like this.